Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. Somebody is going to do the recap today.
Yes, Seemaji, over to you.
Hari Om, good morning to everyone. Shashiji, Guru Vandana, thank you so much. We absolutely can't thank you enough. Chapter 2, my notes, is about Sankhya Yoga, where Lord Krishna is correcting Arjuna's logic with practical knowledge and reasoning. He tells us this body is made up of 5 elements and is perishable. We must be prepared for change. He asks Arjuna to focus on the Atma, the indestructible. Reflect on what is real versus unreal. Let us learn to endure the temporary struggles of life with wisdom and samatva bhav, equanimity, so we can reach our higher selves, our true nature. How to think is more important than what to think. Let's learn to look at life from a holistic standpoint, from all angles, including dharma drishti and adhyatma drishti. Let's elevate our minds, lift our vision, and keep our intellect inspired. Do not waste your mental energy. Do not blunt your efficiency or ability. My right is only performing my karma without stress, anxiety, or agitation. And Sangam Tattva, giving up all attachments to results. Yoga means to integrate and unite with our higher self. Lord Krishna talks to us about the beauty of Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is Buddhi Yoga. It is a shift in our attitude. Siddhya Siddho Samo Bhutva, equanimity of mind in success and failure. Act, action, attitude, to always select what is good for us versus what is good for me. If everybody does their duties, the rights of everyone are fulfilled. And we ended with steps towards positive change, AARP, awareness, acceptance, readiness, and patience. Hari Om.
Beautiful. Excellent. Very well captured. That means I skipped quite a few of my slides. Very well done. Thank you so much. I'm glad. Good. So exactly, that's where we are. So Bhagwan Krishna is talking, now putting Arjuna in a position where he has brought him out of his dejection in a way, and is also correcting his thinking by talking about what he has to do at that moment with what attitude, right? That's exactly where we are right now. And one important thing we have to understand is that the more we can think about our higher self, that we all have this inherent place of peace and strength and happiness already within us. That'll give us a lot of peace, lot of peace. So, and so much so that when we handle things, we'll be able to do that with much more calmness, much more clarity. So Bhagwan is slowly pushing us towards that, but never forgetting that right now, here we are. So we have to do what we have to do right now. But that itself He wants that to become our daily duty in the place where we are, with our roles, with our responsibilities. Bhagavan wants us to move forward to that place of peace and strength, that absolute truth, that essence in us. So that right now we can see benefits of it in our life, not after, who knows, after what will happen when, okay, especially after death. So don't worry. Please get into this proper attitude as far as your work is concerned, so that it becomes a joy, your mind remains calm, and you can slowly imbibe this very subtle teaching about your true nature and be able to bring that out into your life. Divinize your life in every way is what Bhagavan Shri Krishna is telling. Okay, so now what has happened? Let's just go to my slides. Okay, so in the spirit of Karma Yoga, as you mentioned, you don't work for your personal gains or be anxious about results, and absolutely no place for laziness. We don't have any choice. We have to do our work properly. And if we do that with that equanimity, which not worrying about results, we'll be able to channel all our energy and focus to the task at hand. So then we'll be very balanced. We'll be able to bring the very best out of ours. And so in this particular session, what are we going to see?
Shashi, do you want to do full screen?
Oh yeah, I think so. Wait, give me a second.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah. All right. Now, what are we going to see in this session? Further benefits of maintaining that equanimity, and it will also introduce a new definition for this Karma Yoga or this Buddhi Yoga, as was mentioned. Okay, so we'll see another definition here, which is also very important. We saw Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. We'll see another definition. Bhagavan will introduce that as well. And he'll give a few more pointers to, do our best during when we perform our duties. But I'll tell you, chapter 3 is all about Karma Yoga. So we'll go into that in more detail there. So we'll leave that at that point. In addition, now Arjuna has been brought out of his despondent state. He's sort of sitting up and listening. And he wants now to see, like we say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So he's like, has there been anyone who has understood their essential nature, who's moving around right around me right now, if possible, so that I can look at them, see how they are, how they handle things, and maybe I can learn from them too. And he's very interested in that. So he asks a question to Bhagwan, and Bhagwan is now going to give, again, a beautiful word painting of a person who is this his manifested divinity in this life. So showing an example, he will bring our attention as well to Sthita Prajna Purusha, and we'll see about that too in this particular session. Okay, so who is going to repeat after me?
First one is
Panorama.
Okay.
I'll go.
Okay.
Srinivasa first.
Buddhi yukto jahatiha
Buddhi yukto jahatiha
ubhe sukrita dushkrute
ube sukrita duskrite
tasmad yogaya yujyasva
tasmad yogaya yujyasva
yoga karmasu kaushalam
yoga karmashu kausalam
yoga karmasu kaushalam. So thank you.
Yoga.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. So yoga karmasu kaushalam is another definition that Bhagavan Krishna is introducing for this karma yoga. That is, you're going to bring dexterity into your action, efficiency into your action. Pickpocket has got dexterity in his action. You never know when they take your wallet when you're in some vacation and everything. That's not what Lord Krishna means here. So let's see what exactly he means by this dexterity in your action. What he says is, when you maintain that equanimity, right? You're just being in that present moment and you're doing your best at your work, you will bring out another type of efficiency into your work. Okay. So not only are you not distracted, but you're bringing another special quality and special result because of this. So here he's defining spirituality as efficiency in work, dexterity in action. And so not only are you increasing your productivity, but you're also, there is a minimum effort in that sense. You're not stressing out so much. You're not stressing out so much. So two dimensions to efficiency in work, right? Like for example, it may be it a housework or be it something at work, anything when you want to get organized and do all your things, that is also bringing out your, a good result. Like everything is happening, you're organized, everything is put in place. Excellent. But was it done in such a manner that we are not agitated, not overstressed, and at the end of it felt calm and satisfied? Think about it. As we get to do many things, which we are pretty good at. I mean, we are great at multitasking, we women, I have to tell you. But what happens in the process, there's so much of anxiety. Will I be able to finish this? Well, what about this? Another job is already coming into your head as you're doing this, particular duty. And so very cluttered, and you don't feel very calm. You do feel stressed. Although we seem to achieve and complete a lot of things, that efficiency has happened as far as the task is concerned. Within us, that spiritual efficiency of being calm, feeling completely satisfied, feeling, not feeling stressed is very important. That is called as spiritual efficiency. Spiritual efficiency, what happens then is mind is very calm. And you can see the benefit of a calm mind, right? So here, Bhagavan Krishna is emphasizing, are you able to do this? And when you do this, what happens? This type of calmness of mind while doing any of your duty, if you can maintain that, you are moving closer and closer to your place of peace and strength. That's why it's so important. And as you move closer and closer, your efficiency improves, your equanimity improves, and you see that benefits even in life as well. So it's not like moving to the place of peace and strength only, but you start seeing the benefit in even as you perform your duties as well. So this is very important, and Lord Krishna is stressing on this as well. And you can see Bhagavan is leading us and making sure that he brings us to where we can be our best. All our efficiencies so that we lead a rich inner life as well, full of peace and joy. So in a few more shlokas, Bhagavan will show that in second chapter, how to be, do your best at your place of duty. And then he's going to take us to, in Karma Yoga, in much more detail in third chapter. He'll talk about all this, which we can focus on in our, next session when we come to that particular chapter. Now, there's a very important little pointer here for all of us. When we are in a low state, okay, sometimes it happens, we just feel like, I don't know what to do now. I feel not so great, right? It's important to see whether we can seek help from somebody who's positive, right? You want to say that, or somebody who's, at least well-informed and wiser, or do something which keeps you in a positive frame of mind or inspirational mood. Otherwise, what happens if we go to people with the same type of mentality as us, let's just say, and we start talking about our grievances, they will sort of encourage that same state and make us feel and complicate things for us. That happens as well. So this is a very important thing. See how we can seek a positive help so that we move from where we are to a better dimension as well. So this is very beautifully brought out by Arjuna seeking the help of Krishna as well. So now I keep on going back to this slide, that what Lord Krishna did in this particular chapter is he told Arjuna, your logic and reasoning is wrong, by giving him the highest vision of our true nature. Then while he did so, he gave the correct logic and reasoning, why he should not be grieving, all that he put in place. But then that's all wonderful, but give me some practical guidance. How beautifully he then guides him through this attitude shift of Karma Yoga. That was the practical guidance. And now, with a question by Arjuna, he's going to describe the attributes of an individual who we all can look up to, or start getting some pointers so we can see whether we can emulate them. Not just Arjuna, we all too. So now he starts that practical teachings. Just give me a second. I have to stop share and go to another set of slides. Oops, where is it? Give me a second. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, that's all right. It doesn't matter. Stay with that. Slideshow. Okay, it's all right. If you see a little bit more here, that's okay. So now we're going to the final topic. And then Arjuna is going to ask a question about this Sthita Prajna Purusha. So Arjuna has been very quiet for a long time, right? Because he's just been listening to Lord Krishna, and then he's like, okay, sounds very good. I want to see an example of this, somebody who's accomplished this. Maybe it's my uncle, maybe it's my, grandsire, my Bhishma, Pitamaha, or maybe somebody close to me. So or maybe this Krishna too, who knows, right? Because all this while he never thought Krishna was anything apart from his own friend. Okay, so he just, in fact, at some point you'll see he'll feel very sad that he did not know how the greatness of Krishna, and he'll say, oh my goodness, I treated you like I used to say, go do this for me, Krishna, get up and get me water. Treated him like just somebody, his buddy, okay? And now all of a sudden that reverence will come, and we'll see that. Anyway, so what does he do after getting calmed down? Bhagwan has succeeded in bringing him out of this dejected state, and knowing that abstract theory, it can only go so far. Arjuna wants to know the characteristic of a person who's equanimous and who's always balanced, always is manifesting this divinity, right? And somebody who's not looking for results when they're performing actions. How's this person? Is that life very dull and boring? Please, I want to know what about this person, he says. And he wants to see whether he can emulate that person, right? So now he gets an opportunity to ask Bhagwan a question. And so please, whoever is going to repeat after me, please do.
Manorama.
Sure.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha.
Strita Pragyasya ka bhasa.
Samadhisthasya Keshava.
Samadhistasya Kesava.
Sthitadhi kim prabhasheta.
Stitadhi kim prabhaseta.
Kimasita prajeta kim.
Kimasita vrajeta kim.
He asked Keshava, okay, Lord with the curly hair, or the one who destroyed a demon called Keshi. Oh, Keshava, he says, what is the characteristics of such a person, this perfected individual that you're talking so much about, right? And then, of course, how is he established in that knowledge? And when immediately we all have to understand knowledge is not of the knowledge that we all are familiar with, but knowledge of the true essence in him, that he is that eternal Atma, which is unshaken, which is going, no matter what happens, nothing can touch it. That he understands, knows that place of peace, that strength, that happiness. Such a person, he just asked these questions, but we'll see what it means. Prabhasheta kim, how does he speak? And then Kima Sita, how does he sit down? And then Vrajeta kim, how does he walk around? Okay, so what really it means is Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha, Samadhistasya Keshava means what are the characteristics of that person? Attributes, which I can qualities that I can appreciate. Then although the question is, how does a person speak or sit and talk, it means how does a person respond to the various situations which keep coming? I mean, in life, that's what most of our time is spent in, right? And here, the idea is all our actions and responses will depend on our vision. what our thinking is, what we have gathered, what we have sort of look at as, okay, this is how I want life to be, and I hold these things as important. And so I want to act with this vision. So it then, whatever knowledge we have gathered to shape that vision, and of course, our nature, what is our personality type, and our understanding from what all the experiences that we've gathered, right? And very clearly, a child acts in a certain way and not in a very mature way. And we understand that's the nature of the child. That is appropriate for that age. So our maturity, our nature, our knowledge, our vision, all those things are very important in the way we respond to everything. And, those qualities that we have in us will also determine that. So what is a person's vision? And how does that person act afterwards? So this is what the question Arjuna is asking. Now, when we say what are all the characteristics of this wise person, very important for us not to look at others and say, that person is not wise. That is not for us. This is the characteristics of a wise person, Lord Krishna is pointing out, is for us seekers for it to be guidelines for us. Even last time I told you, there's a very beautiful thing in our scriptures which says, Siddhasya Lakshanani Sadhakasya Sadhanani. Siddhasya Lakshanani means if you see these qualities in a wise person, those become things that we want to emulate in our life. These are our things that we want to use and emulate in our life, okay, and live by such guidelines. So now Lord Krishna is going to list that, and also he'll point certain things where, remember that alertness, awareness that is important for us. We can become aware of certain things which can drag us down. So he will also caution in these next shlokas about the lakshanas of a sthita prajna purushaha. Okay, siddhasya lakshanani sadhakasya sadhanani. And if we can remember what Lord Krishna says, our awareness becomes even more acute, and then we become more alert. And then when we encounter things which can be, where we can actually catch ourselves. This is what it means, catch ourselves, so that we can retain our mental poise and equanimity. Or if we lose it a little too, we can gather quickly. We can regain our mental poise and equanimity quickly. So all these things are for us to reflect upon, all these lakshanas. Okay. Shri Bhagavan, sorry, next person.
I'm here. Thank you.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Prajahati yada kaman.
Prajahati yada kaman.
Sarvan partha manogatan.
Sarvan partha manogatan.
Atman yevatmana tushtaha.
Atmanyevatmana tushtaha.
Sthita prajnastadochyate.
Sthita prajnastadochyate.
When all the desires in the mind have been completely given up, that looks really tough. Yes. He says, when all those desires have gone, but when does that happen? Atmani eva atmana tushtaha. When the person has understood that the true essence in me is a place of happiness and peace. When that has happened, a person is able to give up all the desires. Such a person is called a sthita prajna. So be very careful. Bhagwan is now pointing out the highest for us, the gold standard for us, so that we can look and say, wow, this is where we are all heading to. I mean, none of us is left behind. This is something that we all have to remember in life. Our whole journey as a human is to get to this point. That's the reason we are all born here. That is the most important for us to remember. Never to feel like, oh, I'm here, I'm there, somebody else is somewhere far here. Oh, somebody's not at all. Nobody is going to be left behind in this journey. We are all marching towards that final goal, and we just see where we are, make all the tweaks and changes, and keep moving on. So anyway, this is the goal. So this is what Bhagwan is showing us. And he says, the one who is understood the true nature of the essence of their nature, as a result of which they're totally fulfilled, totally contented, totally happy, then all the desires are gone from their mind. What are desires? Desire is a thought. One comes after another. I told you last time, tissue box, you remember that. So what happens, these desires constantly are going on for one thing or the other. Such a person who's found out that place of peace, happiness, and joy has no reason to look for anything else anymore. That's all. So let us see. How does this happen that what this person has no desires? We should understand that. Then we also should understand, see, these are things that we have to keep in mind here. How is he able to get over all desires? What does it really mean? Secondly, we also want to know, where is this happiness that, we're talking about? We want to, because, we are looking at various things for our happiness. That's also we'll see. And then we'll also clearly then understand that I am the place of happiness and peace. So this is important. Let's just focus on these things. So all of us have many desires. We said that many times now. We seem to satisfy one, and then something else appears as a tissue box afterwards, as I said. But you see, all the desires that we have, we did this little, exercise even last time, all the desires that we have, whether it is for certain objects that I want to get, whether it's a relationship that I want to develop, whether it's some type of, vacation and things that I'm looking for, they're all for complete, unadulterated happiness. We want just that. When I'm happy, mind becomes totally peaceful. So either way too, when I'm peaceful, all my desires there's no gurgling of this and that in my head going on as well. So now we're going to point out that desires are not for objects, they're only for happiness. Now let's just imagine. Say we are told, hey, this is the happiness and here it is. Everlasting happiness, it is yours. If we're told that, why would we then look for anything? If all of us were looking for a job, let's imagine. And suddenly you find that you have inherited by an uncle you've completely forgotten, didn't even know existed, has given you millions of dollars in your name and it's been left in your name. A lawyer gets in contact with you to tell this good news. What will happen to your job that you're looking for? If the purpose for which we are looking for, if that is found, would we look for any other thing? If the key that you were searching for all over the house, you find it's in your pocket, would you go still looking for your keys? Now, so where exactly is this happiness? Understood. Okay, understood. Everything is for happiness. Okay, I'm not looking at objects or people. Looks like, through all the pursuits, I want happiness. Now, where is this happiness, please? Please let me know. So you see, there's an object and there is this person. There's a person and there is this person, because I look for happiness through people as well. And then our beautiful vacation in Aruba, and here is Shashi, right? So all these things, whether it is an object, whether it's a person, or whether it's a situation, we look for happiness. If you analyze this, object, people, situations, this is where we are looking for happiness. In whatever way you want to analyze it, bottom line is only these three: Vastu, Vyakti, Paristiti. Vastu, Vyakti, Paristiti. So we've searched, we've looked for happiness in all this, in innumerable places, but certainly we have not found that everlasting happiness. If we did, our search would have ended. We would be like happily sitting away, always ever happy. And I want to tell you about a very interesting Balavihar story from my experience with children, because, sometimes this will stick in your mind and I can never forget it. So, our kindergarten class subject is called Alphabet Safari, okay? And the children learn not A is for apple, B is for a ball, but A is for ambition, B is for brotherhood, C is for cleanliness, and so on and so forth, okay? And so I attended, one of the teachers was doing a class one day, and I just sometimes used to go sit in the class to see how things were going. So I went to the class, and that day it was alphabet H. H is for happiness. And so the teacher was going around saying, hey, children, and these are all kindergarten kids. What do you do for happiness? What do you, and she was going around the class, and some kids said, oh, I love it when I get a toy like this, I'm very happy. Or, when I get ice cream, or when I play with my best friend, and this was going on. And then she noticed that one kid was sitting very quietly, not saying a word. So she said, Shiva, what do you do for happiness? The kid's name was Shiva. Huh? So that kid said, nothing. I don't have to do anything. It's stuck in my head. This is what Bhagavad Gita is trying to teach us. You really don't have to do anything because that's your nature. That's your nature. So anyway, what I was once again talking about, an object and a subject. Where is happiness? Now you see, the same object, iPhone, after some time, would it give me the same intense happiness that I wanted when I wanted to get it and it was in my hand the first day when I opened it out of the box? No. And then when it breaks down, it certainly doesn't make me very happy. So the same object has failed to give me happiness. The same person whom we love, who is very dear to us, also can be the cause of, difficulties and sorrows for us as well. So you see a person, and just imagine, you want to go on a vacation to Aruba, like me, or whatever, if you want to think, and then you plan everything. And right from the moment you board the plane, it's nothing but obstacles and some type of a problem or the other. And when you go there, your room is not ready, and then the room is just not what you expected it to be. I mean, so many problems that you'll come back by saying, that Aruba, I'll never go there again. It was just all kinds of circumstances that added up. That object will not give you happiness again. So, it's not in the object. And if there are only two things, object and subject, where is happiness then? That's why it is said that ananda, that happiness, is in the subject, you and me. Therefore, this person understanding that happiness, that eternal nature in them, is contented. When that everlasting happiness is yours already, person is contented. Now you see, everything that is explained afterwards, whatever the qualities, is as a result of this. Being contented in the self, understanding my true nature, I am completely at ease with myself, at peace with myself. Independently, I'm joyous. No dependence. Slavery and dependence on external objects, people, or situations is not there in that person. And therefore, desires are completely not gurgling in my brain, pushing me to do this and that and that and this for happiness. For happiness. This is a very important thing that has to be remembered. I'm eternal. I'm infinite. I'm the source of happiness. Now, what is Krishna trying to also tell here? I'll give you by something, a simple example, which is in no way, what to the level that Lord is saying, but this is what we do to ourselves right now. Right now, we don't feel this. Right now, I never think that happiness is my nature and I'm eternal. But Lord Krishna wants to push us to that. And so see, this is what happens. We are all mothers, or we are all, in a position where we've had a place to be, where we have sacrificed, we have served, we have not thought of ourselves, because any family means that's it. You know that, a family life. So much of patience, so much of love has already been our nature. So, we are contributing a lot already. Not only that, when we raise children, what are we hoping that will happen to children is that they grow up to be happy, they grow up to be productive, and be important contributors as well in life. So we're doing such an excellent role, such a great role. But I want to say, how many women you've heard will say, what do you do? They'll say, I'm just a housewife. Haven't you heard that? Lord Krishna is saying this is exactly what you're doing, putting yourself at such a low place. And who are you? Epitome of sacrifice, epitome of service, epitome of compassion, patience, and love, and so much more. So Bhagavan wants us to raise to this level, this is exactly how he is pushing us to understand our true nature. Dukkeshvanudvigna manaha.
Dukkeshva anudvigva manaha.
Sukheshu vigata spruhaha.
Sukheshu vigata sprihaha.
Vitaraga bhaya krodhaha.
Vitaraga bhaya krodhaha.
Sthita dhir muni ruchyate.
Sthitadhir muni ruchyate.
So such a person, dukkeshu anudvigna manaha. Anudvigna manaha means the person is not in a reactive mode. Not in a reactive mode. That means can pause, can think, can respond, all because the mind is quiet. All because there's clarity in thinking. Because when you're peaceful and happy, you know how you are. You don't have to be sthita prajna, but you yourself have experienced it, right? So our ability to execute well thought of responses is always there. But now this muni, this sthita dhir muni uchyate, it says, that person who's established in that knowledge doesn't get too, overwhelmed by sorrows or start craving for these happy experiences over and over again, so elated that the next thing they do is crash as well. That does not happen to this person. And whether it's joy or sorrow, they do not get attached or overwhelmed. And a consequence of that is Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha. This Raga, Bhaya, Krodha always go together and also will be mentioned by Bhagwan many times. Okay. So when they discover their own true self, they're not attached to other things again for their happiness. They're not dependent on that. When you're not dependent on that, when it moves away from you or it comes in front of you, it's okay. It's okay. It's easy to let go, or it's okay to accept it when it comes. They're not very, ups and downs are minimized to a great extent. So no dependency, no aversion. Only when there is attachment do we want to possess, do we want to control, because we're afraid of losing it. Or being deprived of what we don't get, we get angry. So I again thought of a little example to drive this point home. We'll go to the next thing and then I'll explain the same thing because it'll connect everything together. Okay. So it is not that this person has no emotions. Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha means, do they ever get afraid? Don't they ever get angry? Anger has a place and fear also has a place. But this person's nature is fearlessness and controlled anger. Anger at the right points, right point. Because in our scriptures, fearlessness alone is regarded as a virtue. But if you see a snake, poisonous snake, you better have fear and run away. Such things are, we should be very careful. All these things we have to think clearly to have clarity when we interpret such shlokas too. Fearlessness is a virtue that Bhagavan will say with your understanding of your nature of strength and that which never changes, that your absolute essence, you will be fearless. And when you're fearless, when you're handling anything in life, you're straightforward, you're convinced, the conviction in you is unshaken. So you can stick to truth, your moral values and principles, you don't hesitate. Anger too will have its place. If you see some injustice going around us, we can't remain still. If you can channel that anger properly, actually that righteous indignation will lead to great results. Freedom of a country, ending of slavery, all has started with such things. But what do we do with anger? What do we do with our fear? We don't know when to use it properly. When we are angry, we are so careless, we hurt people whom we really love. We waste our precious energy and resources. Or when we're supposed to get angry, we're like useless doormats. So please, all these things, although it is experienced without anger, without fear, please understand that when it's appropriate, they'll use it, but not inappropriately, there's complete control. Okay. So now Bhagwan will further, give me a, no, we don't want all this. I know what has happened to my slides, sir. Okay, I will sort of pass on all this. You don't need to know this. Let's keep it here. So in a few more shlokas, Bhagwan will say that another important thing in Sthita Prajna Purusha that you notice is perfect control over senses and mind. And you know what? We need control of that even to succeed in the secular world. That perfect sense control is very important. And so he gives an example, such a cute example of a turtle. A turtle, if you see, when it senses any danger, very quickly it withdraws not only its head, but even its limbs under the shell. And all you see is that hard shell. So to a wise person, when he sees things which might throw other people out of balance, and he wants to exercise that moderation in their sense control, they will be able to very quickly at will be able to say no. Be able to say no. And when it has to be utilized, back again, everything to interact with the world again. And the other thing, as a wise person is contented that after saying Atma Santushti, Nishkamata Visa, contented in the self and freedom from all desires, they have equanimity, right? Perfect control of the senses, profound peace within themselves, don't get perturbed. And this cheerfulness, joy, and that prasada buddhi, that everything in life is a blessing. That is always there in these people. Now, Bhagwan, I'm so sorry. This is not the slides that I wanted to show, and I have to stop again because it's showing me something which it is from a previous talk, and I don't know what happened. I'll check one more time and see. At least let me put my original slide so at least you can see that.
Yeah, this reminds me of my struggle when we started virtual learning 18 months ago. I had no idea how to do it.
No, I do these all the time, but you know what? This morning I put everything in a different.
Did we lose Shashiji? I think we lost Shashiji, or is it me?
I don't see her.
We did lose her.
I don't see her here.
Lost her.
Okay, she'll come back. I hope. You know what?
She logged back. She logged out, I think.
Parveenji, do you want to call her, or let me call
Yeah.
her? Can you call her, Parveenji? Are you going to do it?
Yes.
Okay, please do. I hope she realized she's logged out. And while we're waiting for her to come back, oh, there she is. Okay. If anybody wants to do a recap for next week, please keep that in mind. Shashiji, are you back?
I am so sorry. I didn't run away. Okay.
We are learning how to be sthita pragya and not to get perturbed.
Oh my God. All right. Here we come. Okay. Okay. So Bhagwan points out all those qualities, and then he now gives us a little bit of insights. If you're not aware, if you're not alert, what can happen? So, you think about a ball and you sort of drop it down the staircase. The first few steps, it sort of just bounces a little, but then it just keeps rolling down so fast, there's no way of catching it. So Bhagwan says, be careful, because, certain things in you why are these desires so much stressed? He'll tell us now, because he says, if you let those desires just get past you very quickly, then it's very hard to catch and come back to the starting point. Look, falling is not okay. Occasional, little exhibitions of our weaknesses, nobody's going to say anything about it. But most important to remember is we have fallen many times, but how often and how quickly have we picked ourselves up? That is very important. And that's what Bhagwan is trying to tell us in these two shlokas now, which go together So I'd like somebody to repeat. This is called the ladder of fall, very, famously in Bhagavad Gita. So please repeat after me both these two shlokas.
Anita one, and then Parveen the next one.
Okay. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha
ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः
Sangasteshu pajayate
Sangasteषुपजायते
Sangat sanjayate kamaha
Sangat sanjayate kamaha
Kamat krodho bhijayate
Kamat krodhobhijayate
Krodhat bhavati sammohah
क्रोधा भवति सम्मोहा
Sammohat smriti vibhramaha
सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः
Smriti bhramshad buddhinashah
स्मृतिभ्रंशादबुद्धिनाश
Buddhinashat pranashyati
बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति.
I'll explain the whole thing through an example. But what Bhagavan is saying is when you keep brooding, fanciful imagination, you get attached to a particular idea, then a desire arises. When desire arises, if you don't control it, it becomes irresistible. You have to act on it. And then afterwards, when you act on it, if somebody impedes your, what you want to get, you get mad and you lose your temper, or you get very upset if you lose something. And then what happens, he says, your mind is now agitated. It's so crowded with too many different types of thoughts. And when your mind is crowded, can you really think properly? When it's crowded with too many conflicting thoughts, can you think properly? And we humans, the crown of creation, are meant to think properly, be able to use our past knowledge and be able to make right decisions at the moment. And at important times, if your intellect fails you, then how can you be called actually a human, get the dignity of a status of a human? Because we have the status of a human because of our intellectual ability, because of our ability to think. So don't get caught in doing this, get caught in such a situation where you let your mind run havoc, and also with all kinds of conflicting thoughts, which really are not helpful, is what he's trying to say. Catch yourself before the fall happens. And I'll give you a very simple example to drive the point home, because it's not something smaller, it's actually something very big. This is basically when you say, I want something in a particular way. I want, that person to be like this towards me. I want this type of a result when I do this. When you say that I want, and you see what happens as a consequence, is what he's explaining. So I'll tell you an example. We sort of go to a store, and then you see a cute little trinket or a little, souvenir or something. And you say, oh, that is so cute. I would like to get that. And so you really go and spend some money, bring it and put it in your cupboard. Now in your mind, you're like, I think I saw some more like that somewhere else. It will be good to have it in my cab. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just sort of giving you an example of where we can get caught. And so we'll say, okay, let me get some more things, and just like that. And then you go to Amazon, you go here, you go there, you go to their website, and then you get all these trinkets more and more to display in our cabinet. And it looks very beautiful. It's all China. It's, everybody admires it. You're very happy. And then one day you have a party at home, and then you have a whole bunch of kids, and you're busy, talking to the adults and everything. And suddenly you hear a few crash and all kinds of glass breaking sound, and you run, a few kids have got into your cupboard, your precious, China, the trinkets cupboard, and they were playing with it and they broke it. And now you're so mad. Whether you're boiling, you don't know how to handle this. These are all strange kids, your friends' kids. And you're thinking, why couldn't the mothers keep, all these things are going on in your head. And so there, you might even in that moment, Bhagavan is trying to warn us, we might say something that we might regret later. We might also, people are there who, if they've left their anger unchecked, have left their disappointments unchecked, might even do something in this spur of the moment, which is then will regret later. So where do we catch it then? Bhagavan is saying, don't, just now we did an analysis. He tells us, we looked at where happiness is, right? Whether it's in an object or whether it's in me. And we realized that the same object might not give us happiness. Now it's broken. It's definitely not giving me happiness. So I'm the source of happiness. If you can keep reminding yourself of that, then what will happen? At least, you won't get caught in this cycle that I should have that and I should obtain it. And then, it should be in place. It should be in this way. In life, much more important is, as I said, if things, I want it in this way and I want people to be like this, I want situations like this. If we keep having insistence on that, these can lead to a lot of disappointments. Don't insist, don't have fanciful imagination that they will give you happiness. So how do we prevent such a fall? Because it's not all the time so acutely in that situation. This reflection is important. Where is happiness? And also more and more we get engaged in creative and meaningful activities, you see our mind is taken to a different frame. And not insisting, as I said, because not every time things will go our way. Most importantly, in the moment. When we are in the moment, make a slight pause for yourself, not to make hasty decisions, not to take any actions or speak impulsively. Just buy some time. That itself is a big thing that we can put in. And let's nurture our minds with satsangs, inspiring company, which will keep us in a positive frame. And as we go through Gita, I tell you, the more and more it's a mirror, we become aware of our own weak spots, which is a great thing. Pat ourselves in the back when we become aware, because then only can we bring all the changes. So now let's do the last shloka, and then very briefly I'll conclude after this. So whoever is going to read me.
Sujana is the one.
Apuryamanam achala pratishtham.
Apuryamanam achala pratishtatam.
Samudramapah pravishanti yadvat.
Samudram apa pravishanti yadvat.
Tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve.
Tadvat kama yam pravishyanti sarve.
Sashanti mapnoti na kama kami.
Sashantim apnoti na kama kame.
So Bhagavan is now comparing this Sthita Prajna Purusha to an ocean. You know how many trillions of gallons of water empty into the ocean every second. How many big rivers, small streams, everything empties into the ocean. Does that ocean overflow? Does the ocean dry up if there's no water entering into it? Nothing. Remains same. Remain full, established in itself. So this perfected person, the one who's understood the essential nature, who's independently joyous, is undisturbed, no matter what life brings them. No gurgling desires, no cravings, whether objects are in front or not. Not that they won't enjoy it. If you give them a nice cup of coffee or rasgulla, they'll still enjoy if they like it. But they're not going to be dependent on it. They don't get excited, nor do they slip from that knowledge, from that awareness. The other thing also, when you look at this beautiful example, you can see that when a river merges into the ocean or a raindrop falls into the ocean, that drop of water has now attained the status of that infinite ocean or that huge ocean. It became so big, no longer that small drop of water. So this person too, having recognized their own true nature, understand that infinite presence in them, and also that knowledge of everything is one with them. So they no longer are limited, no longer are small. They understand their infinite nature, knowing that. And also, if you delve deep and deep into the ocean, there's so many precious things, gems and pearls and everything, is hidden in the ocean. Like that, the more you delve into the depths of a realized person, profound peace, profound joy is their unshaken nature. Unshaken nature. And when you see little streams, right, you see when there's a heavy rain, they flood and cause so much problems. And those same little streams, with just some extra heat, summer heat, they dry up completely. Right, like that. If we are not aware of ourselves, we become like that little streams, tossed up and down by what life brings us. Be like that wise person. Let's not get caught in those things, on these, these types of ups and downs. So concluding, Bhagavan Shri Krishna in the last shloka of this Sthita Prajna Purusha, he says, this person has given up all the fanciful imaginations, therefore is free of all those cravings and desires, has no selfishness, there's no self-centeredness or possessiveness anymore. That person is ever at peace. Bhagavan Krishna says in the next shloka. So in this particular session, we've concluded the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Sankhya Yoga, with a very clear understanding of Bhagavan's teaching as he brought out Arjuna from his dejection to show our highest nature. We're not just limited creatures. We're not just this individual with, I can't do anything type of attitude. There's profound strength in us. Profound peace is our nature, and it is unshaken. This is who we are. Let's all move towards that. Bhagavan will give so many tools for us, and he's shown us a beautiful example of what it might be like if we also understand our true nature. We'll handle life with joy. We'll understand life is what life is. It's okay. But we will be able to handle it with absolute strength and joy and peace. This is what Bhagavan wants us to move to, and where we are. You don't have to change places. Where we are is the perfect place for each one of us. We are born in the place because we chose it due to our past karmas for our evolution. So this is what Bhagavan Krishna is going to show in the rest of the chapters as well. But chapter 2 is regarded as a synopsis chapter. Chapter 18 is also regarded as a synopsis summary chapter. And in between comes all the beautiful teachings that we will further look at. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.